Hi guys, good morning. It is 10:10 in the morning. Guys, I have had a morning already. A hectic morning. My kids missed the bus, and I'm like, oh my god, it's time to get up. Let's go, A rushed morning, guys. A very rushed morning. As you see, no makeup. I'm barefaced. Probably got bags under my eyes and everything because I was up until 3 or 4 o'clock this morning, looking at the presidential race to see who was going to win. And guys, get this: Trump goes on live TV and basically declare victory when Biden is actually ahead of him. And North Carolina still throwing. They still went on North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, I think, and there's one more. I can't think of the other one, but they're still waiting on about four states to count all of their votes. Meaning in mailed-in votes, probably some more electronic votes, absentee ballot votes. They still got all of these to count, which is probably millions or more votes they have got to count, So they're saying it probably will not be till Friday or somewhere around there, but we'll find out who our president is. But so far, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, guys, y'all can correct me on this, but I believe Biden is in the lead by a few points, barely, but he is in the lead. But it's a very tight race, guys. I mean, I haven't seen a presidential. Sorry, guys, I've not seen a presidential race this tight since I think Obama was even that tight. I think there was a clear-cut case with Obama. But I want to say maybe Al Gore and President Bush, maybe, or what? Yeah, it was President Bush and Al Gore, I think. And whenever that was it was a very tight race. It was. But President Bush, as we know, won that election. But yeah, if I am not mistaken, Biden is in the lead as we speak. Barely, but he's in the lead. And my opinion on this is I like it. I mean, it's my opinion because, I think Biden has more of a better outlook and more for the working class and the poor people. That's what I like about him. Why, in my opinion, guys, do not come for me, and I really don't care if you do or not. But in my opinion, Trump is more for, the rich people, more for the, upper class. Me, I am a stay-at-home mother with, a child. I got 4 kids, and my back and my hip, let's say injuries. I don't know how I got them, but they prevent me from working anywhere. And I do not got disability right now. So, I'm barely hanging on with a little bit of child support that I get for my kids. That's what we survive on, guys. But, yeah, I'm Biden. Sorry, guys. Anyways, let's not talk about presidential stuff here because we're trying to take a break from that. Not trying to get too far into it. So I went ahead and decided to do my upload this morning.
Put this up.
No. Sorry, guys, I'm talking to my 4-year-old. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and I decided to do my recording this morning just in case I am not feeling up to it tonight or anything like that because it is Wednesday. So the case we are going to be talking about is probably not that well known, but we're going to be talking about her. Her name is Anne Marie Fahey. I'm just going to say Fahey. But yeah, this is the case that I pulled up under one of my favorite true crime writers, who is Anne Rule. She is awesome, guys. Her and and William Phillips. They're awesome true crime writers. Go check their books out, guys. They have got a ton of selections of books. But yeah, she's one of my favorite. Anyway, this is the case of Anne Marie. Okay, we're going to start with some of her diary entries, which kind of tells the signs and everything that, is about to happen in this case. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. Let's go. Okay, the first entry of this diary was on April the 24th of 1994, and it says, "I am afraid because I am in love with a man who has a family. I fantasize my life with him all the time. He is very gentle, intelligent, handsome, and interesting." That was a diary entry of April the 24th of 1994. And as we know, she speaks in her diary that he is a family man. So obviously he's a married man, probably. And she's just fantasizing about maybe him leaving his wife, and they beginning their lives together. As a lot of them relationships are, whenever you are in a relationship with another woman's husband or another woman's boyfriend, usually it doesn't end too well, for one or the other, usually. Okay, this was on April the 26th of 1994. "Our relationship is finished. I know it is my problem and my fault. I told him things that were hidden inside me." So he could, I guess he left because she probably told him her true feelings towards him. And a lot of men that are married or in other relationships will run from a woman that he is in a relationship with, in a unfaithful relationship with. Usually they will leave that woman, go back to their wife if that woman gets too comfortable in that, and of them being together. Usually that's how it always works. But yeah, this is April the 7th of 1996. "I have finally brought closure to Tom CAPONO. What a controlling, guys, insecure, jealous maniac. For 1 year, I allowed someone to take control of my every decision of my life." So this is in 1996. This is 2 years later, guys, in the same month of April, but this is April the 7th. And she finally realized how controlling, and insecure this Tom dude is. For 2 years, she allowed him to control her, to, just deceive her in every way, basically. But that was in 1996. So let's get into the story of Anne Marie. Anne Marie disappeared from Wilmington, Delaware on the evening of June 27th, early morning of June 28th of 1996. Then eventually destroyed Tom CAPONO's reputation, career, and take away his freedom. It crushed the innocence of the city itself. CAPONO had been a mover and a shaker in Wilmington. We're just going to say Delaware. Sorry, guys. There's some words in my mouth will not bring out right. One of the people to be admired, in awe of, and envied is his relationship with Anne Marie, and his decision to murder her would cast a long and ugly light on him and the circles in which he moved. It says a lot about CAPONO that he thought he could take Anne Marie out for dinner on the night of Thursday, June 27th of 1996, kill her at some point after, assume that no one would recognize she was missing until at least Monday, as she had that Friday, June 28th, off from her work, so she wasn't at work that day. And over the weekend they probably, I don't know, guys. If I'm used to hearing from my daughter or something, like if let's say she's going off to college, she calls me every day, and she misses a day calling me, I'm going to panic automatically. I'm going to call police, like, look, there's something going on, my daughter has not called me, blah, 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 you need to go do a welfare check on her, That's just my panicking mode come in, And at this second, the account of the events that evening will be taken and accepted without dissent. Without dissents. Okay. This ignorance, I could say, will carry out over into his trial, where it will be out in full force as he takes the stand and testify. To say that the jury hated him would be an underestimate. So obviously, the jury hated him. That Anne Marie's disappearance would get the attention of the media and other higher ups, given that she worked for Delaware Governor Tom Caper, never seems to occur to Capano. He must have been shocked when then President Bill Clinton had offered aid in the search for Anne Marie, when the television cameras from Hard Copy arrived in town a day after front page New York Times article on her disappearance was printed in early July. He must have been downright apologetic. Apologetic. God, I'm so tired. Capano had met the outgoing and bubbly scheduling secretary for Governor Caper in the spring of 1994. Both moved in similar political professional circles, and when they finally met, the attraction apparently was instant. So they moved in the same circles. She worked for this governor, and when you work for political works and in this professional field, you run in higher circles, like you don't got normal friends, basically. You run like in the rich circle, I might as well say, or the people in that you fit better in, or people at your office, or people wherever, it's just wherever. Ultimately, it seemed not to matter what that he was married with 4 daughters. He told Anne Marie that the marriage was over and all, and she came to accept that she would be a mistress. Oh no, a side girlfriend if the relationship progressed in any farther than a friendship. No, I think I would have been like, no, buddy, no. I'd be like, do I look like a fool? No, buddy. I'd be like, there's a door, hit it, and don't let it hit your ass on the way out. You're married with 4 kids, and no. No. I would never settle for being the side chick. There's no way. This was new to her, a relationship with a married man, but Capano was an old hand at the maternal infidelity game. Tells you a lot of guys on it. He's a player. He's a whoa. He played. Yeah, that part. Shh, don't tell nobody though, okay? I'm just joking, guys, okay? He had cheated on his wife multiple times. At the time he met Anne Marie, he had a 15-year affair going on with Deborah McIntyre, the ex-wife of his former legal partner. McIntyre was also a friend of his wife's. Yikes. Yikes, guys, for real. I don't know. This is already not sounding too awesome, because oh my God, it's coming. But yeah, this is already not sounding too good on either side. It's sounding terrible because he is messing with his wife's best friend. And this was going on for 15 years, guys. 15 years. He was messing with his wife's close friend, and I don't know what to make of that, guys. It just seemed, I don't know. I gotta smoke on this one. We got to light up on that one. But anyways, let's continue reading. Oh my God. Anne Marie knew nothing about McIntyre or Capano's previous dodgy behavior. She fell in love. Looking at pictures of Tom Capano is hard to understand, but reports say that he was charming, intelligent, and self-assured, which means he has a huge ego, which mostly all guys do. That confidence would have been attracted to someone like Anne Marie, whose outgoing nature was a front for the self-esteem issues that crippled her to the point of anorexia and bulimia. So Anne Marie had a problem, like an addiction, basically, to being anorexic and being a bulimia. Bulimia is where you are throwing up. After you eat, you go and you throw up your food. And anorexia is where you just starve yourself to death. At one point in my life, I was anorexic. I'm not gonna lie. I would not eat. I would not drink. I would not do nothing because I felt like I was like just really fat and did not fit in, and did not fit that stereotypical type of girl look, and it bothered me. And so yeah, started starving myself to the point where my mom they got very concerned, and yeah, they stepped in because I was young. I was only like 14 and a half, 15. But I was never bullied for my weight. I was never, I was pretty popular in school. I hung with the popular kids, but I also never thought I was above anybody else. I was friends with basically anybody, the outcasts, the goths. I was just a friendly person with everybody. Even though me and certain race of girls did not get on, I don't understand why they never liked me, but they never did. They had never liked me, and it's like I've done nothing to you. Why don't you like me? But okay, it is what it is. They don't care no more. We don't care. Anyways, guys, let's continue reading and let me quit blabbing. CAPONO's financial freedom and his generosity would also have been extremely attractive to a woman who had come from a working class household and who struggled financially her entire life. Girl, I can definitely relate to you on that. For nearly 2 years, it seems that Anne-Marie conducted an on and off again affair with Tom Capono. She would vacation with him to Virginia, making a list of their differences during the car ride. The list will be read with great sadness in the future. Their similarities were slight. Both came from large families, and both appear to be equally fascinated with Tom Capono. When Anne-Marie needed to repair her car windshield, it was Capono who gave her the money. He treated her to fancy dinners, new clothing and handbags, and even gave her and her friends pro bono legal advice on a new business. At one point, she fantasized about Capono leaving his wife and marrying her. Like all these relationships tend to think, a girl can dream, right? I said I'm gonna marry Jay Park, so I guess a girl can dream. Yeah. Yes, but yeah. It's already sounding very suspicious here. Suspicious for real. It would never happen, of course. Capono was a serial adulterer, which means he is a serial player. In other words, he cannot keep it in his pants, guys. He cannot keep it in his pants. That ego and all that. Can't keep it in his pants, guys. Who wants? No. Okay. McIntyre, his longtime mistress, also expected that he leave his wife for her. Anne-Marie was a lovely young woman, a challenge, and someone he could control. I think the control was the greatest attraction for him. So Anne-Marie, she come from this working class family, doesn't have much money. This Tom dude, he's rich. He got money. He got everything that a woman would be looking for, in a man that comes from a lower class, working class family, and thing like that. That, it just looks like, yeah, you are the one. You are, because you're financially stabilizing to me, that would help me. That's what a lot of women look for. That security, that financial security, family security, that security blanket, basically. That's what women look for, and unfortunately, a lot of times we end up finding that in a married man. And in the end, it's always us mistress, the ones that, were preyed on by these men that get hurt. And, it's just not right. Just tell us you're married from the get go. What's so hard about it? Anyways, Anne-Marie tried to break it off with Capano, but he knew too much about her. He knew of her fears, of her guilt over being involved in an affair. He also knew of her eating disorders and that she showed a therapist, that she saw a therapist and took Prozac. All the things that made Anne-Marie self-conscious. He did not hesitate to use any of them against her. He would call her many, many times during the day, send her flowers and extensive emails, all in the attempts to wear her down and regain the upper hand. He would tell her he needed her, that he was leaving his family for her. He would demand that she return everything he had gifted her. What a... No. No. Anne-Marie, baby, I feel for you. She thought that even if their romantic relationship ended, they could remain friends, but she was kidding herself. She was kidding herself. Maybe she knew it, maybe not. She told a few people that she was afraid of Capano and his controlling nature and that she worried he would hurt her. Yet, when she fell ill because of her disorder, it was Capano she called to pick her up from work and nurse her. She wanted to be rescued, but Capano was anything but a knight in shining armor. At Christmas of 1995, he had gifted her with an airline ticket to Spain. She refused the gift. This would have been part and a prodigal of their relationship history, but something else had changed. She had met someone. Michael Skelton? We're just going to call him Michael, guys. Okay? Michael, an executive. Anne-Marie's age and single. He treated her well, and they had fun together. She fell in love with him, and it seems that if he hadn't fallen in love with Anne-Marie, he was getting there. Tom Capano no longer had a place in her life, and you know that is going to make him very, very jealous. He feels that he lost control, and he knows that he knows that he has lost control of her. He knows that he had lost her, so suspicious already, right, guys? Already. This stinks. This stinks bad. Let's read on, guys. I think this is why he killed her. He couldn't control her any longer. She was done with him before he was ready for her to be. She told him no. It would have taken him 7 months following Christmas, but he would do it. It's unknown why. After she had written the diary entry above, Anne-Marie resumed contact with Capano. Why didn't she simply walk away? Why didn't she mention to Governor Caper that Capano was pushing her, harassing her, and making her uncomfortable? Sure, it would have been embarrassing to admit to your boss that you were in a relationship with Capano, but by that point, he and his wife had separated. I do understand that she didn't want anyone thinking less of her for her relationship with Capano, especially her boss, her family, and her boyfriend. Anne-Marie lived in fear that Capano would tell Michael everything and would destroy her relationship with him. I think Anne-Marie broke off the relationship with Capano once and for all the night of June 27th. Witnesses remember later that the couple having dinner at the Panorama restaurant did not appear to be happy. Things seemed to be tense. Anne-Marie barely touched her food, getting the majority of it in a to-go container. Their server will recall that there was none of the happy and or light chatter that was normally exchanged over the dinner table. So whenever they met for dinner, it was a very tense meeting, a very I want you out of my life meeting, I don't want nothing to do with you. I want my food in a to-go container so I can go home to my man that I have met. That's basically what she was saying. She wants to go home to her man. she met a new man that actually, was not married. He was an executive, that, they was beginning to fall in love with each other. They was getting to start their life together. A beginning of a relationship that would actually last, probably, or would have lasted, because this dickhead over here decided he wanted to, yeah, you know, yeah. Capano would later tell authorities that he took Anne-Marie home after dinner, dropping her at her apartment around 10 p.m., and that was the last he saw of her. I don't believe she ever returned home that evening. If she had, it's unlikely she would have left again to voluntarily accompany him to his home. Not only that, but the obsessed, neat and orderly Anne-Marie would never have left her dress slung over a chair or food items on her kitchen counter to spoil. So, whenever they entered her home to look for her, they noticed that her dress was just slung about, and that the food that she had in the to-go container was still sitting on the counter in her home. And that's very unlike Anne-Marie, who's a very neat freak. One of them that probably have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, where everything has got to be in order, everything has got to be neat and clean. So it was very unlike her character. I think Capano drove her to his home against her will and wishes, and perhaps cajoled her into staying, at least briefly. It was a Thursday evening, and apparently both enjoyed watching LA Law, then a popular show on the air. I think it's possible that he suggested Anne-Marie get comfortable by taking off her dress, perhaps even give her something casual to wear while watching the program. I see this because when her dress was discovered in her apartment later, there was no blood found on it. So obviously she had to take the dress off before she was killed. She may have agreed to watch the show with him in order to maintain some sense of peace, or she may have demanded to be taken home. It's unknown. What is fairly certain is that at some point, Capano came up behind her as she sat on his sofa and shot her, guys, in the head just above her left ear. Anne-Marie, thankfully, probably never knew it. So basically, she died instantly. And what freaking coward will come up from behind and shoot you in the back of your head? He couldn't even face her. He couldn't even do none of that. He came up behind her, guys, like a coward that he is. A very, very cowardly move. He put her body in a large igloo ice cooler he had purchased a few days earlier. The kind of cooler that deep sea fishermen use for their catch. She was tall, above 5'10". He would be forced to break her legs, guys, in order to get her body inside and close the lid. He chained the cooler and left it in the garage. He broke her friggin' legs to get her inside this cooler. What maniac? I mean, what? It was then that Capano returned to Anne-Marie's apartment to set the stage. He placed the dress she had been wearing on a chair in her bedroom, along with her shoes. He had brought her a pantsuit she had admired from Tabart's. The unopened box will be found in her bedroom several days later. The tissue paper was still wrapped around the garment with the seal unbroken. I think Anne-Marie had refused to give that evening something else that would have angered him. Hold on, guys. My phone's ringing. Be right back. Hey guys, I am back, and we are going to finish up on this. I know that was a long break, but I had to do a few things. But anyways, let's start where we left off. Okay, guys. It was then that Capano returned to Anne-Marie's apartment to set the stage. He placed the dress she had been wearing on the chair. Okay, we read that part, didn't we? Okay, unopened. See what I'm talking about? Next to take, okay, right there where we left off. Okay. The unopened box will be found in her bedroom several days later. Okay. The tissue paper was still wrapped around the garment with the seal unbroken. So it was not open at all. It was just there. Like a gift. It was just there. But I think Anne Marie had refused to gift that evening something else that would have angered him. He put her handbag with her wallet inside on the kitchen counter next to the takeout container from dinner. He also left a grocery bag of fruit on the counter, something he had purchased for her earlier. He turned the air conditioning unit on and then left, locking the front door behind him with her key. So he knew what he was doing. This was a straight, deliberate act of murder because, simply because she has found somebody else and was going to like just drop him, like, nah, dude, you're married, go on. Basically, that's what it all boiled down to. Pure jealousy. Jealousy. Okay. The next day, he would talk to his younger brother, Gerald, the one whom he had helped repeatedly in the past when he got into trouble, the one with the boat, into helping him dispose of Anne Marie's body. He threw her into the Atlantic in a watery grave in which she would never be recovered. It would be Gerald's statements and testimony that would finally shed light on what exactly had happened to Anne Marie. So they threw her in the Atlantic Ocean. Do you know how big the Atlantic Ocean is? It's like, there's no way you're going to find a body there. There's no way. No way, because you got in the Atlantic Ocean, you got whales, you got sharks, you got all these creatures in that water, probably unknown creatures that we don't know about, floating around this water, and you just threw her body in the Atlantic Ocean. And the only way that they actually knew this was from the testimony of his brother Gerald. If it was not from him, they wouldn't have known what happened to her. But it's, oh my God. CAPONO would also discard his sofa and the rug underneath. Because of the bloodstains. He would clean up his living room, but not quite to perfection. A small drop of blood will later be found on the baseboard and be determined to be that of Anne Marie's. So that would have gave him away anyways because he left that one droplet, that's not supposed to be there. Why is her blood in your house? Come on now. Later, authorities would connect a new rug purchase to the day after Anne Marie was last seen, as well as the ice chest, which would be recovered. Both were linked to Tom. It was discovered that CAPONO told McIntyre that he was being threatened and worried for his safety. As a result, she would purchase a gun that he used to murder Anne Marie. Eventually, she would turn against CAPONO and testify against him. All these people are testifying against him to save their own asses, because, come on now. This chick that went and brought him a gun because he said, oh, his life has been threatened. So, she was purchasing this firearm that is used to murder his other mistress, the one that was like, bye, you're married, I ain't got time for this, found her another boo. And he did not like that. He did not like the fact that he was being rejected, that he did not have that upper hand anymore. So he was pissed. And unfortunately, he murdered her over that. Basically. Before CAPONO's trial began in October 1998, excerpts from Anne Marie's diaries was printed in the local paper and shared with the media. If she had known the painfully private Anne Marie would have been mortified. Sadly, some of the entries, taken out of context, presented Anne Marie as the head case CAPONO insisted she was, detailing her therapy, her Prozac use, and her dysfunctional relationship with food. She wasn't without flaws and troubled behavior, but she was the victim. Don't ever forget that she was the victim. It doesn't matter if she was bulimic. It doesn't matter if she was on Prozac. Hell, I've been on Prozac. I've been on Wellbutrin. I've been on Celexa. I've been on every antidepressant you could think of, probably. And I'm still to this day taking these medications. Just because she's on that does not mean she's crazy, because she was not crazy. Obviously, dude over here that besides the infidelity dude, that's having all these extramarital affairs. Yeah, crazy, right? That's the one. But they're trying to paint him as a victim in this. It's like, no, no. Anyways, that was, just. And why would they print her diary entries like that is my question. I mean, in the local paper. I can understand having them in court as evidence, but in the local paper? Who does that? Who in their right mind prints somebody's private stuff like on the front page of a newspaper for the whole world to see? That's what I thought. Guys, nobody but wherever this is at, to Delaware. Leave it to them. No matter what she did, Anne-Marie did not deserve to be killed. Point blank. CAPONO's defense claimed that McIntyre had killed Anne-Marie accidentally, as CAPONO had struggled with the gun, resulting in the gun firing and striking Anne-Marie. The jury, after listening to the evidence over 12 weeks, didn't buy it, and despite not having a body nor even an absolute cause of death, they found Tom guilty of first-degree murder. Tom himself might have done more to ensure his conviction than the testimony of McIntyre and Gerald combined, as neither was particularly likable or sympathetic witnesses. So he done himself more damage, what he gets, right, guys? Boom, shot. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, in January of 1999, Tom was sentenced to death by lethal injection. An appeal followed, and while the Supreme Court reaffirmed his conviction, his sentencing was redeemed due to the penalty being a non-unanimous jury verdict. The state elected not to go after capital punishment again, giving Tom a gift he refused Anne-Marie. Instead, he was sentenced to life in prison. Unlike some inmates, Tom did indeed serve life. He was found dead in his cell on September 19, 2011 during a routine check. Mama! Hold on a minute, guys.
Hey guys, Dad, you need to get my bottle.
Same specialist at the Carolinas has two convenient locations in gas station and Charlotte. Log on to FamesCarolina.com to schedule your appointment today. That's FamesCarolina.com.
Oh, guys, I need you there. Hold on 1 minute.
Every 40 seconds, and too many of them are fatal. On average, we lose 1,000 people each year due to traffic accidents. Even one is way too many.
Auntie, my nails, I do my nails right.
Okay, guys. I had to do a little quick text there for a minute. I was talking to my brother. But anyways, where was I? Okay, he was found dead in his cell on September the 19th of 2011 during a routine check. The medical examiner determined that he had died of cardiac arrest due to a cardiovascular disease and obesity. So this dude was overweight. Okay. The slick and suave Tim CAPONO that charmed Anne-Marie was dead and gone. I'm sorry, guys, but much well deserved, right? I mean, he did kill her for no apparent reason. Much well deserved. Yeah. Okay. As in the case with so many of these stories, I am left wondering why. Why did Anne-Marie continue the cat and mouse game with Tom? Why couldn't she seem to let go? Why couldn't he? Not that it mattered, but Tom hardly lacked for female companionship. At the time he killed Anne-Marie, he was grooming other mistresses and even gone out to dinner with a former employee, a woman he had had a brief fling with years earlier, trying to woo her back. Clearly, Anne-Marie meant little to him, so why not let her go and do her thing? Guys, why? I mean, This dude was having all these extramarital affairs. I mean, like a night or two before he decided he wanted to kill Anne Marie, he is having going out with this girl that he worked with, woman, whatever you want to call it, that they had a fling like years ago, but he's wanting to fire that back up. Man, maybe that's why I'm single, guys. Maybe that is why I'm single. I think it all boils down to control. Indeed. Tom had controlled Anne-Marie for more than 2 years. He had been able to control her moods, her plans, her entire life with a phone call, email, or snap of his fingers. He liked it. He didn't want to lose that, and certainly not because she decided to end it. Now, if he decided to end it, it would have been all right, but no. She decided to end it, and it was like, nah, she got to go because I'm in control. It's like, nah. She showed him. She died with her dignity, though. I tell you that. Lord, look at me. I forgot why. Okay, in the beginning, she may have been relieved to have someone control her. Most sufferers of an eating disorder fear the loss of control. Having Tom control her would have validate some of the burden, at last at first, but eventually she would tire of his never-ending need for control and his inability to focus on anyone but himself. When Anne-Marie said no to him, I think Tom was filled with fear. Her refusal caused him to question everything he knew about himself, to put a crack in the self-esteem and the narcissistic mirror he looked into daily. He couldn't have that. He needed to be in control. He needed those feelings of power back, no matter what it took. It took killing Anne-Marie to get them back. I also believe he had no desire to lose to Michael. So this Michael dude, he did not want to lose him. He did not want Anne-Marie to be with him. He didn't want to lose her to him. But CAPONO had been entitled and catered to nearly his entire life. He was his mother's favorite child, the one who could do no wrong, and the one who set the bar for his brothers to illuminate and follow. He didn't lose. Some little secretary was not going to throw one over on him, but she did. She did. This is exactly what happened, in my opinion, with the O.J. Simpson case. Had control with the Simpson case. Okay, my bad. O.J. Simpson had controlled Nicole Brown from the time he met her, 2 or 3 months after she graduated from high school and turned 18. Her entire adult life had consisted of and being controlled by O.J. Simpson until June of 1994. Once she had cut the controlling ties, the only way Simpson could possibly control her was by killing her. Also, like Simpson, CAPONO could present himself to the victim in this case, and aiming to create and receive more sympathy than the actual dead. The woman he claimed to love so much, but who he gave little more than a passing thoughts to. Like Simpson, he may have blamed his victim for her death. She made him do it. Simpson and CAPONO, two narcissistic, murdering peas in a pod. I agree. Totally agree. I also thought about why Tom used McIntyre to get a gun for him. With the connections and those his brother had, he surely could have gotten a gun on the download and then have gotten rid of it once it served its purpose, never to be connected to him. So why bring in McIntyre? Why was she even brought into this? I think it was his out plan for her. He believed that he had distanced himself from Anne-Marie's death. There was no body. He believed no blood was in his home, and in her apartment he had no signs of a struggle or crime. Anne-Marie had simply vanished. I think his thought was that if anything surfaced, he would blame McIntyre. So she was going to get the blame if anything surfaced, Dude, you're going to throw your mistress up under the bus. Wow. He could suggest that perhaps she had found out about Anne-Marie, who knows what she did with her crazy jealousy. She did own a gun, after all. Registered, it was in her name. McIntyre was expendable. if this was Hail Mary, you know. What he didn't know, of course, was that Anne Marie had written about him in her diary, that she had spoken to her hairstylist about their affair and her fears, that a small drop of her blood was left in his living room, and that he had overstaged her apartment, made it look way too perfected, way too perfected, leaving it in a way she never would. He had also underestimated his brother, believing that Gerald would not crumble once the cops raided his home. He was wrong. He was wrong. His brother crumbled under all that pressure. Under pressure. Yep, he crumbled. Okay, prior to that summer of 1996, Tom had been the good Tom. Two of his brothers have had serious runs-in with the laws, one for bribery and kickbacks. And prison time was avoided by cooperating with the FBI, and one was for kidnapping and rape, which resulted in incarceration. His younger brother Gerald, the one who helped him get rid of Anne-Marie's body and who had testified against him on his trial, was known to run with a questionable crowd, drug dealers and users. The youngest CAPONO seemed to live on the edge with a insatiable need, unsatisfied need for excitement and thrills. Tom certainly provided him with that on Friday, June 28th of 1996. He would later say that he would never be able to get the image of a human cap and foot disappearing into the ocean. So this is going to live with his brother forever. I mean, he's saying that he can't even get that out of his mind, which I bet he can. Because if I was, throw somebody into the freaking Atlantic Ocean, I don't think I would ever, I would never sleep again. Never sleep again, be like some kind of Freddy Krueger shit, I would. But it's just, wrong. Tom destroyed his career and brought shame to his ex-wife, his daughters, his mother, and his law firm. He officially made his children fatherless. Worse, far worse, he killed Anne-Marie, the woman who had fallen in love with him at one point and within 2 years was calling him a controlling maniac. In Anne-Marie's diary, the only referred to CAPONO by his actual name once, and that was in her last diary entry, the one from April 7th of 1996, where she wrote that she had finally brought closure to him. She wrote this less than 3 months before he would murder her. The pain Anne-Marie's family and friends felt and feel to this day is a special agony known only to those with missing loved ones, because they have never recovered her body. I mean, they probably never will. By his violent and selfish actions, CAPONO allowed the Faheys to be kept in the dark for weeks while knowing that she was dead and never coming home. He denied them the closure of having Anne-Marie's remains and giving their sister a proper burial. They know she's dead and gone. They probably knew it from the moment they saw her apartment and realized she had not been heard from for 3 days, but they were never able to say goodbye to her. They did a memorial for Anne-Marie in her life with a bench and a plaque in a park that she liked to visit, dedicated in 1997, is still there today. I would love to go see that. But this case right here is a pure case of deceit, jealousy, and I would say envy, but it's not envy. But it's like the jealousy and deceit, and the extramarital affairs, it's got all the concepts of everything mixed in one, basically, and it was red flags everywhere, and I feel for her parents, her sisters, her friends, or anybody. Y'all have my sympathy. It goes out to all of y'all. Rest in peace, Anne-Marie. I know your body has never been found and probably never will be found. But hopefully your family can find some kind of closure, knowing that your murderer will never see the light of day again because he's also dead, rightfully so. But anyways, guys, this was actually a very long video. This was actually a 50-minute video. I'm starting to get a little bit more, longer cases, and get more, opening up to it and more, and speaking more. And I'm actually loving it. I'm in love with this, guys. This is something that I love doing. Talking true crime. So with that being said, remember to always be kind, stay beautiful, and always put God first, guys. I am out of here to my next video. Mwah!